can get started. So this is what about topology, right? What did we do the yesterday's class?
Where configure interface and netting basic
Create the zones.
So which mode we try to deploy?
Layer 3, L3.
L3 mode, right?
Yes.
In L3 mode, what configuration we perform?
We configure interfaces,
zone,
Okay.
NAT, policy, security policy.
Then
virtual routing.
virtual router. Okay.
DNS.
Then
DNS. User, PC user.
DNS.
Management.
MGMT.
Profile, management profile.
MGMT profile. So this stuff should be performed, right?
Yes.
Now we'll do the same thing once again. Before this, I just want to know when you restart the Palo Alto Firewall, right? Okay. When you turn on the Palo Alto Firewall, okay. Once you turn on the Palo Alto Firewall, so there will be no zones inside, outside, and DMZ zones. Once it turn on, right, it will ask the username and password, right?
Yes.
Username
Password.
and password. PWD. So the default username and password, we all know that the admin. Username also admin, and the password will also be the admin, right? So once you enter the admin, then it will ask you what is the old password and what new password you need to get to change, then confirm the new password. Okay.
Brother, every time we are on the Palo Alto,
No.
ask the
See,
old.
what happened, right? So intentionally, I wipe the configuration of this device. I wipe the configuration because so every time it will not ask. So
Okay.
just for the learning purpose, let me will do the same thing once again because we are more familiar now, right? So how we can configure the zones and configuration everything. So that's the reason I just wipe the configuration.
Okay.
When you wipe the configuration, so it will come like as the new box.
Okay.
New PA box. So whenever you just log into the new PA box, it will ask you the username and the password. Then username and the password, the new password, and confirm the password.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I got the here. See, when I wipe the configuration, it was take the time for the post checks power on self test. So once the power on self test was done, then I try to log in multiple times. Multiple times, but it's throwing error. And one more thing, the note point is whenever you turn on the Palo Alto Firewall, even in the lab as well as in the production network, okay, even in the lab and the production network, it will take a minimum 5 minutes to come full-fledged to fully up, okay. Before 5 minutes, if you try to log in with the default password, okay, the admin, username admin and the password admin, it will not come up. Okay, it will again throw you the login is the same error. Login is not happened. Okay, login credential is not right. Then I also tried, okay, multiple times, but it was not there. It was not letting me. It was not letting me inside. Then after 5 minutes, I once again performed. The username is admin here, see, and the password also admin. Then the Palo Alto is asking me to enter the old password. What is the old password? Old password also admin, right?
Admin.
Yes.
Then it's asking me set up the new password as per the password policy. So by default, okay, the default, whenever you get the Palo Alto Firewall, the same thing will be happen. Then the password, the default PWD policy, okay, the default password policy is minimum 8 letters. Minimum 8 letters when it was come into the production network. So here I set up the new password, capital A DMIN @123. Again, it's asking me to confirm the change password, which means the new password. Again, same thing, ADMIN @123. Then it's showing me the number of failed attempts since last successful login is 0, which means it was logged successfully.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the default username password is admin. So once we change that, okay, once you enter with the admin password, it will ask you to change the password, the new password. Okay. Now after we enter into the password, so on which mode it will be, like we will get
Operational
ADMIN
mode.
@PA hashtag. So what mode it is, which means it is
Operational
the
mode.
new setup, like the new Palo Alto box. So the operational mode, this symbol is the operational mode. Operational mode. So here we can verify all our show related commands, right?
Yes.
Okay. Show commands. All our show commands. So we can verify anything like related to the show commands. Now, so how we have the in Cisco, like the Cisco router or switches. Okay.
Privilege mode.
Okay. In the same thing. Okay, so in the Cisco we have the modes, right? How many modes we have? The same thing. The first mode is setup mode.
User mode.
User mode.
Setup mode will come in the when you deploy the device the first time when you on power on the device, right? Setup mode.
Yes.
And the user
User
mode.
mode.
Then
Privilege.
Privilege mode.
privilege mode,
Global configuration. Global configuration mode.
global configuration mode, and line
Fine.
mode.
Interface and line.
Hey, one more mode we missed, buddy.
Interface and line.
Interface.
Interface and line.
Interface mode, right? These are all the 6 modes we have. But in Palo Alto, we have 2 modes. One is operational mode, and the other mode is configurational mode.
Command.
Configurational
Mode.
mode. So the configurational mode symbol is hashtag. Remember this. Try to prepare the running notebook, which will be helpful, right?
Okay.
Now the same thing we have in the Palo Alto, like same thing like as in Cisco. So we used to save the commands, right? To save the configuration, write memory,
Here commit.
okay, and copy running -config into startup config.
Startup.
-config. So this is one more command, right? So these 2 commands we use in the Cisco, but here the command is commit. So commit will give to save the configuration. Okay. So there are 2 profiles. What are all the profiles? What is the meaning of candidate configuration?
And running configuration.
And running configuration.
Oh, let me. Candidate configuration and running configuration. Okay. What is the meaning of candidate configuration? How we can describe
Configuration
it?
is not
Right.
saved.
Okay, if the configuration is not saved, that configuration was present, okay, will be or was be present in the candidate configuration, right? So not saved configuration. So what will happen? I have a Palo Alto Firewall here, okay. So as we know that there will be 2 PSU. What is PSU?
Power supply.
Exactly, the power supply unit. Okay, we have the 2 power supply units. So by chance anything something happened in the outside, like due to which the power outage was happened, so my Palo Alto got rebooted, right? Powered off and again powered on, rebooted. So what will happen if the configuration is in the candidate configuration? So if the configuration is in the candidate configuration, I haven't saved the configuration, so it will not save, right? So once the power outage was happened, the device was got reboot. Will the configuration, whatever we change, that will be present in the same box?
No,
No.
no,
No.
it is everything.
It will be wiped, right? All the configuration will be gone.
Yes.
So
Yes.
to present the configuration, what we need to perform? We need to perform the running configuration.
Running
To
configuration.
we send the configuration from RAM to NVRAM, right? RAM to NVRAM. So if you want to send the configuration from RAM to NVRAM, okay, what we need to perform? The command we need to
Commit.
perform commit,
Commit.
right? So once we perform the commit command, so the configuration will go to the running configuration. So even though the device got reboot, also the same configuration will be present in the Palo Alto firewall, right?
Yes.
Now one more the previous class doubt only. So always we used to correlate Cisco because you are familiar with the Cisco. So in the Cisco router, so I'm in the global configuration mode. For an example, router, not like this. Okay, config like this. So if I want to save the configuration from here in the global configuration mode, what command I need to use?
Do
Do.
Okay,
Right.
the command is do right.
Right.
Right, I need to perform. So the same thing, if we are in a Palo Alto box, okay, we are in the configuration mode, what command we need to perform the, like, we are in the global configuration, which means
run.
Running.
I'm in the running, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, it's not running, Ray. Okay,
Run.
running configuration, candidate configuration, which means, okay, so when you don't save the configuration, it is a candidate configuration. Once you save the configuration, it will go to the running configuration. We have two modes, right? Operational mode and the configurational mode.
Hmm.
Modes are different and these are different, buddies. Okay,
Yes.
Yes.
operational mode and the configurational mode. So in the operational mode, we will get the hashtag. In the configurational, in the greater than
Greater
symbol.
than.
In the configuration mode, we will get the hashtag symbol. Now I am in the configurational mode, okay, of the Palo Alto firewall. I need to save the configuration. What command I need to perform here? So here in Cisco, we know that we need to perform just do right. So what is the command here? Even
Run.
though
Commit.
even though
Commit.
to save to save the also here, okay, to save, even though to save also, we will just perform the do right. And if you want to check anything also, do show ip int brief also will work here, right? So because before show command, before show command, we need to perform add do only. But here what, in Palo Alto, what is the command in the Palo Alto?
Same
Run.
commit.
Run commit.
Maksud run आता बा.
Ah,
Do
run.
is like as a run. Do is
Yes.
like as
Yes.
a run. If you are in a configurational mode, if you want to save or you need to check in the show commands, you need to add run here. So run commit. Even if you want to check the system information also, run
Run.
show
System
Info.
info. Right?
Yes.
These are all the commands. So we are good now. So we had the basic knowledge of the Palo Alto firewall. We are good to deploy once again the L3 mode. Okay. And one more thing, let me wipe this and I'll take a snap. I just need to explain you a few more things. What is that here? Right. Let me take a snapshot. In the last class, I told you, okay, in the last class, I told you
L3.
that, okay, the L3 mode deployment, right? L3 mode deployment. When we are discussing the L3 mode deployment, I told you, see, so if you are taking the CLI of the Palo Alto box, so the command ping space 8.8.8.8 will not be work, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And we need to add the command ping space host
Host.
8.8.8.8.
8.
If you want to take this IP address, like the inside IP address as a source, then even that also we can perform, right? Ping source. Okay. So this IP address 1.1,
IP address.
192.168.1.1 and the
Host.
host
Space
8.8.8.8. Right? We don't have any routing right here. We'll try to ping from here. Okay, so we don't have any configuration as of now. So the PA box is empty. The PA box is empty. Okay, we'll try to ping 8.8.8.8. No syntax. Ping host 8.8.8.8. Sorry, ping host 8.8.8.8. How it is pinging? This was very important. Jaskrit, are you there? Jaskrit. Okay, छोड़ दो. जो जवाब देगा वही सीखेगा भाई. बताओ ये क्यों पिंग हो रहा है? So I'll tell you one more thing. Okay, फिर से क्वेश्चन रिपीट कर रहा हूँ. देख मकसूद, it is very important भाई. It is very important. Focus on the point. Okay. So the thing is, I'm in the Palo Alto CLI, right? This is our CLI. Yusuf Bhaiya, be with
yes.
me, okay?
Ah,
so
yes,
this
sir.
is my Palo Alto. इस पॉइंट को मालूम ना के लोग बहुत परेशान होते हैं, तो वो पॉइंट तुम पहले ही पता लगा लोगे तो तुमको तुम्हारी करियर में हेल्प करेगा. ओके, सो देयर इज अ Palo Alto firewall that I'm taking CLI access. Okay.
Okay.
So once we take the CLI access, I'm trying to ping host 8.8.8.8. It's pinging, it's responding, right?
Yes.
Everyone sees that it's responding.
No.
How it is responding, we don't have. See, so if you want to deploy the firewall into the the L3 mode, so which the user wants to go ping space, if the user wants to go internet, we need to do hell of configuration. These are all the configuration we need to consider, like interfaces, zones, NAT, security policies, virtual routers. Even though we need to configure the DNS and the time also, and the time NTP and the management profiles, like these are all the configuration we need to perform. But still I'm in the from here, like the CLI of the Palo Alto, so I'm able to ping the 8.8.8. How it is? Ping host 8.8.8.8. This is a tricky question and very important question. Focus on this point. How it is pinging? Any idea?
Same zone.
No. Same how it is. This is the Palo Alto also. Even though this is also the outside zone, right? So
Yes,
when the traffic is leaving from this interface, it will say as it is the outside interface. If the traffic will come to the inside, then it will say that this is the inside interface.
Okay.
This is very tricky and very important thing also. So that's the reason I just need to focus on this point a little bit. Okay. How it is going on? Even we don't have any IP addresses configured. Let me log in the Palo Alto also. If you want me to show you, let me log in the Palo Alto. So I need to check what is my IP, what IP I get. So what is the command to check the IP address? What command I need to perform here in the operational mode to check which IP I got from the DHCP server? Everything is important, so that's the reason I ask you everyone, please prepare the running notebook, as well as once you watch the video also prepare the normal notebook also. You guys are like doctors, right? So system info, that's it. We will get, so system info we will get right here. See, the host name is PA-VM, and the IP address is 192.168.179.139. The mask, net mask is nothing but your subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Okay, Sahil, what is this 255.255.255.0 means? कौन सा slash कर रहता है? And which slash, what slash value it is?
Class 24.
Slash 24. Okay, mute कर दे. Then the gateway 192.168.172.2. So this is what the IP address we got from where IP assignment mechanism is what? See, you are able to see the cursor, right? The DHCP IP assign mechanism is DHCP. So we have 192.168.179.139. Let me log in that firewall also. If you are not believing me, I'll show you here. So we don't have any configuration. We don't have any configuration in the Palo box. So what is the password to log in? So we change the password, right? We change the password. What is the password to log in now in the Palo Alto firewall?
Admin
Username.
at 123.
Admin
At 123.
at the rate of 1 to 3.
Username is the admin and the password is capital ADMIN @123. See here, it's throwing. अरे कोई तो म्यूट करो रे. कौन हल्ला रहे रे वो? आंटी को जाके बोलो थोड़ा आवाज कम मत करो बोल के. Okay, so it's throwing the error. Advanced. Click on the advanced and proceed. ठीक है, मैं अनसेफ ही लॉगिन कर लूंगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. The username is admin, right? One second, guys. Okay, so the username is admin. Password is capital A B M I N @123. Invalid username and password. What was happened? Admin A B M I N @123. The same thing was happened. What was ADMIN? Yeah, admin 123. Nobody.
Change your password.
Change करें. I changed the password, right?
Yes.
I changed the password again. Once again, it's asking me. As it is the Palo Alto 10 having a bug. Let me log in this ADMIN. See, so there was a bug, okay? There was a bug in Palo Alto Pan 10 OS. Even though I changed the password, I changed you right in front of you guys only. So even though it's asking me the old password once again, okay, let me ADMIN admin. The new password would be capital A DMIN @123. Capital A small DMIN @123. Change my password. You have been logged out due to the unknown reason. Okay, no problem. I log in once again. Username is the admin and the password is capital A DMIN @123. It's creating the administrative template for us. Administrative template for us. Let's see and identify. Is there any configuration? On which operating system pan OS we are working, buddy?
10.
Okay.
10.
So this is our, like, even the host name also the default PA-VM. Do you have any configuration in the networking part? Like, do you have any zones? We don't have any zones. Do we have like the interfaces configured? No interfaces configured. Even no policy, no NAT policy also. Policy is NAT, no NAT policy, and the security policy. So the security policies, the default policies we have here, right? The default policies we have here. But still, but still the logic is, see, I'm able to ping from the CLI to the host 8.8.8. How it is going?
DH routing is there.
DH means what?
CP. Default
DH,
routing.
no. I'll tell you one more thing. Please listen carefully. What will happen, right? So by default, if the traffic, okay, there is a concept of service route. There is a concept of service route in Palo Alto Firewall. If you don't modify the service route, everything will go from the management interface only. Okay.
Okay.
Everything will go in the from the management interface. Before discussing service route, okay, before discussing service route, we will have some the discussion on other part as well. Let me in Cisco router, we are very good in the Cisco, right? I'm assuming that you guys are very good in the Cisco. So in every router or switch, how many planes do we have?
3 planes.
Okay, what are all those?
Management, data
Okay,
plan.
MGMT plane, right? Okay,
Data
control
plane.
plane
Control plane, database plane,
Control plane, data
and
plane.
data
Data
plane.
plan.
These are all the planes in every device of the the
Cisco router.
Cisco's router, right? The same thing we have in Palo Alto also. There is nothing change. Okay. MGMT plane. हेलो गुरुजी बोलो क्लास पे हूँ दे रहा हूँ ठीक है मैं कॉल करता हूँ गुरुजी डेटा प्लेन राइट the same thing we have in Palo Alto Firewall as well. But here, see, in Cisco, if you have the router, right, this is your ISP connected link. We have one the management port as well, MGMT, which is going to connect any switch. Always the traffic will take from your ISP part only because we used to configure the default route here, right?
Yes.
Default route.
Route.
In Palo Alto, even though we configure the default route, right? Even though we configure the default route is nothing but in the virtual router, right? In the virtual router, even though we configure the default route in the virtual router, the traffic will take some of the traffic, few of the traffic will take from the MGMT part. Why it is, how it is. That's the reason we have the service route concept, service route concept. See, when I'm here, right? Let me take the other pen so that you can correlate. I'm in the Palo Alto CLI, okay, Palo Alto CLI, where I perform ping space host 8.8.8.8. So the traffic is going from not from this interface. We haven't configured any interface, even though we haven't assigned the IP address, but still I'm able to ping. So the 8.8 is responding because the traffic is going from the management interface.
Management.
The traffic is going from the management interface because of this service route. Because of this service route. In production network, actually how the setup was, okay. So if you have the PA firewall here, this is your outside interface which is going to connect ISP. This is your DMZ zone outside, the inside zone, okay, the LAN or inside zone. So here we have the management. So we used to connect for any of the switch, that is MGMT switch, right? Our PC is here, and this switch will have the ISP as well, ISP connectivity. So this is our dedicated link for the LAN users. For the LAN users, this link we are going to see. This is my Tata ISP. This is my Airtel ISP. Okay. So the Tata ISP is used for the LAN users and the DMZ zone. Okay. But for this guy is using for the management, we are using one more ISP. Actually, the architecture, okay, the topology, the architecture of the Palo Alto is look like this. This is the right topology, but what we are using, right? So not we, in the all the production network, 99.9%. Okay. So what we guys are using? Why we need to take the dedicated link for the management also?
Redundancy.
Only for the management purpose do we need to take the redundancy link? No. The answer is no. See here, in this topology, management related traffic, which means the SSH or telnet or console, anything you can take that will fall under here, right? In the management plane, in the Cisco.
Yes.
Control plane means what? Control plane means that the router will initiate the traffic. Control plane traffic means the router itself initiate the traffic. Data plane traffic means who are behind this router in the LAN, those guys will try to initiate the traffic to over the internet. That is called your data plane traffic. So the control plane traffic, I'll tell you one more example. When we configure the EIGRP, any dynamic routing protocol, or OSPF, or BGP, something, right? Any dynamic routing protocol, we use, see, the router will use the multicast, right? To form the neighborship.
Yes.
Multicast,
Yes.
with the help of multicast address, okay, multicast the hello messages. So router will form the neighborship. Who will send the traffic? Did the LAN users will send, or the router itself initiate the traffic?
Router.
Router will initiate the traffic, right? That traffic will
Yes.
fall under the control plane traffic.
Yes.
Okay. Data plane, when you deal with the data plane traffic, which means the users will initiate the traffic from your LAN side, which they are going to internet. The same thing here also. Okay. The management is related to our CLI or GUI console, whatever we are taking, and the control plane, right here, the control plane. So Palo Alto itself will initiate the traffic. The PA firewall itself will initiate the traffic. Why the Palo Alto needs to initiate the traffic? Now, question is why the Palo Alto has to initiate the traffic. As we discussed in our the earlier classes, we have the PAN DB, right? PAN DB, which means Palo Alto Network Database. So here, from here, this is also in the internet. Okay, so Palo Alto has to initiate some kind of traffic, like to get the updates, right? To get the updates related to your URL filtering, okay, URL, okay, URL filtering, and wildcard, wildfire, right, and the signatures, all the things, even the OS operating system patches or upgrades, which is nothing but dynamic updates. For the dynamic update, the Palo Alto has to go the PAN DB, which are hosted on the internet. Okay, so that for all the traffic, the Palo Alto used to go from the management interface.
Okay.
But in India or any other countries, we will not use these guys. So the dedicated links we will not use. So we will use this link only to do the update as well, to send the user traffic as well. So that's the reason we have the service route. Service routes.
Route.
I'll show you the service route here in the GUI of the Palo Alto Firewall. Go to the device. And the services. Here is the option service route configuration. When you click on the service route configuration, let it be open, load. See here, use management interface for all. Got it, guys?
Yes.
Use management interface for all, which is nothing but for any traffic, not only for the updates, all the traffic, use the management interface. Okay, even this is also our cloud, right? This is also will also work as an internet cloud, right? Anything which I can initiate from here in the Palo Alto Firewall, okay, that will take the management interface and it will go outside for the first time when you open the box.
Okay.
That we need to change. With the help of service route in the service route configuration in the Palo Alto Firewall. Now you can see here in the practically, right? So from where we are going, how we are going to the internet. So we are going to internet also. We are getting the response. The TTL response we are getting.
Yes.
So we are going via the service route configuration, like the service route from the management port. So every traffic will take the management interface to go out. So that we need to change, that we need to modify, whichever our outside interface, right? So that we need to point the service route to the management interface. So here, I'll tell you one more thing. Okay. So there is by default use management interface for all, and here is the custom. If you click on the custom, okay, there are a lot of services. These are all the services. This many services will take the management service. We are trying to ping 8.8.8, right?
Yes.
So that is nothing but the well-known DNS, Google DNS. So here, see,
DNS.
the DNS service is going via the use default. Use default in the sense, use default the management interface.
Management.
That we can customize. Even we can configure here also. If I configure here, see, I'll show you one more thing. if you want to go 8.8.8, okay, take interface. We haven't configured any interface, so that's the reason it's not showing. It's showing only NAR management and the IP address. Once we configure the interface, we will again configure this guy. Okay, we will configure this guy service route configuration. Then we'll get to know how the things will work here. So hope you understood the concept, right?
Yes.
The concept is simple. Anything before you configure the firewall, also if you take the CLI access of PA box, PA firewall, we can able to reach internet from where? From management cloud. In interview, this kind of cross questions you can expect. Okay, so write down this question. Now we'll start configuring as we have this. This is our agenda, right? So configure the interfaces, zones, NAT, policies, virtual route, DNS. Okay, even today we will configure the NTP also and the management profiles, anything. Upon this, okay, add on to this, we will try to configure the DHCP. DHCP. Why we will use DHCP? This end users has to get the IP address from the DHCP server. For this interface, we will make as a DHCP. Okay.
Okay.
Everyone is there, right? So if anyone missed the class, then again overhead for them. Chalo, guys. So we have the access of this, the GUI. We'll start configuration. Right? We'll start configuring the firewall. And one more thing, I just want to show you. Source system info. So in the source system info, the IP assignment is from where we are getting the IP address. We are getting the IP address from
DHCP.
DHCP. Can we configure the IP as a static?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do we have the option?
Yes.
Yes.
So which is better? DHCP is better or the
Static is better.
Static is better.
static is better? So we will try to configure the IP address as a static as well. Okay.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Meanwhile, what is the difference between interzone and intrazone?
Intrazone means
Same. Interzone different.
Intrazone is same. Interzone means
Different.
right?
Yes.
Okay. By default, what policy we will get?
Intrazone means we are using same communication. And different zone is not communicate.
Okay. So by default, what policies we will get in the Palo Alto firewall? In any firewall, not only in Palo Alto firewall. You can take any firewall. What policies we will get?
Intrazone means
There will be a default policy as well. Okay. Let me show you.
That is intra.
Go to the policies and see here what policies do we have here. What policies we have, guys?
Intra.
intrazone and interzone.
Intra only. Intra
Intrazone means
Allow.
इंट्राजोन का तो सेम जोन बा, ठीक है? सेम जोन में बाय डिफॉल्ट अलो रहती है ट्रैफिक.
ओके.
द डिफरेंट जोन को ट्रैफिक क्या रहती है?
डिनाई
बाय डिफॉल्ट, राइट?
यस.
तो वही है फर्क. इसको थोड़ा दिमाग में बिठाना है तुमको.
अच्छा.
इसको थोड़ा दिमाग में बिठाना है. वो समथिंग. अब मेरा डाउट है, अगर एक सेम जोन ही कॉल करते हैं क्या हमेशा? मतलब मान लो एक इंटरफेस पर इंटरफेस एक ही डायरेक्शन, मतलब एक ही डायरेक्शन में कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं या दूसरे डायरेक्शन में भी कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं?
Sorry, I can't understand that.
Okay, so because I'm asking, the question is we have three interfaces, right? We call three interfaces: inside interface, outside interface, and the DMZ interface.
Okay.
right? So that DMZ interface,
Hmm.
we can configure only one interface for per direction, or we can configure the second interface also for the same direction.
We can.
सोचो, think करो.
We are forward and reverse policy we are using.
Forward and reverse.
Policy we are using to communicate.
No. No, policy is different. Okay, policy is
Hmm.
different. I can agree for that. Okay, but my doubt is, can we configure, okay, uh, two interface with the same zone?
Yes.
The answer is yes. So if you configure two different interfaces in the same zone, then which policy will be applicable? Intrazone or interzone?
Inter.
In-
Which policy will applicable, Maksud?
Inter.
Interzone. Why interzone? On the same two different interfaces, you are calling the same zone.
Intrazone, brother.
So the policy will take, the traffic will take the intrazone traffic.
Yes.
That will be allowed by default.
Yes.
That will be allowed by
Default.
default. Okay. Just give 2 minutes. Just
Okay.
searching for something. So, what is my doubt was, I'll tell you one more thing. Be clear with that, because if you guys will ask me this kind of questions in the interview. It means, so we have the Palo Alto Firewall here.
Okay.
This is going to the ISP. So as this is my outside zone, right?
Okay.
Outside zone. So here we have two more interface going to connect. This is my Ethernet 1/1, Ethernet 1/2, Ethernet 1/3. So I'm going to assign on this interface, I'm going to call on this interface zone is as an inside zone. Inside zone. Here also I'm going to call the same inside zone. Will it work?
Yes, sir.
To work, okay, to reach from this user to our this server, do we have to configure any policies?
No.
Policies means no, because both are the same zone, which means what? Intra-zone, right?
Intrazone.
Intra
Zone.
zone, intra-zone traffic by default
So-
allow. So
Allow.
the interzone,
By default.
interzone traffic will be denied by default. Okay,
By default.
this
Yes.
much of clarity you should have after having the two classes.
Yes.
सेम रूम पे मत बैठो रे, क्या दावत पे बैठ रहे कैसा? म्यूट करो अगर सेम रूम पे बैठे रहे तो. Now let me take the CLI of this. So this IP we got through the DHCP. Let me take the snap and I'll explain you, because I know how intelligent you guys. See, here we have this is our host name. This is our host name, and this is the IP address and the subnet mask on the default gateway. That we are getting the IP assignment mechanism is through the DHCP. Let's try today for static IP assignment. Static IP assignment, right?
Yes.
So to assign the static IP, we are in the which mode? We are in
Operational.
mode. So here we need to type the command is configure. Once you type the command configure, it will go to the configurational mode. So 1 second guys. क्या सुलेमान? हाँ बोल सुलेमान. कहीं को? कहीं को? हाँ. कौन है? Okay, rent document चाहिए थे. ठीक है. So where we are? So we are here, right? So once we jump into the configurational mode, okay. So we need to perform everything. Every command will, if you want to configure anything, the command will start from set, right? And what we are going to configure? Device config, set device config, and system type static. So here we need to call either we are going to configure the static or DHCP. So we need to assign, as we already having the DHCP IP. So this is the IP, right? The IP assignment mechanism is the DHCP. We need to change from DHCP to static, right?
Yes.
Then the second command will be again start from the set device config, set device config, system IP-address. IP-address. What IP we need to call? We will take same IP like 192.168.179.139. Then net mask, which is nothing but your subnet mask, as it is a class C 255.255.255.0. After that, you can call directly also default hyphen gateway. Default hyphen gateway. What is our default gateway? Default gateway is this, like 192.168.179.2. This is the default gateway. 179.2. Even we can configure the DNS also. DNS hyphen setting. DNS hyphen setting. Server primary 8.8.8.8. Then we need to perform the command is commit. So this is how we can configure from change from DHCP to static IP address. Even we are configuring the what? We are configuring the IP address and the subnet mask and the default gateway. Then the primary DNS server is 8.8.8. Got it? Any doubts still here? Any doubts?
The DNS continue ना static में जो DNS setting server
set device setting
secondary ये primary है primary ये हुआ था secondary क्या नहीं था
secondary same वैसा ही आता DNS FN setting secondary server बोल के server primary server secondary बोल के आता we can call DNS FN setting server secondary as well. Let's perform these commands. Okay, so this is our CLI. अगर ऐसा आता है तो सिस्को में क्या है हम कंट्रोल सी मारते थे राइट अगर ऐसा तुम यूज कर रहे हो ऐसा कंटिन्यू आ रहा है तो अब ब्रेक कंट्रोल सी मार के ब्रेक नहीं होता if you use in Cisco also if you run show running configuration so to break that command to stop that the output what we will perform what command we will perform
control C
but the control C will not work in Palo Alto either you need to do Q stands for quit. Here we need to perform Q. लिख लो बाजू नोट पे. Okay. Now we are in the operational mode. Let me go to the configuration mode. Configure. Enter. So the symbol was changed. Hashtag. Now we need to perform the first command, which is this: set device config. Set device config. System type. If you use question mark here, it will give you the DHCP-client or the static. Which one we need to go? We need to go for the static. Enter. The first command was done. Then the second command is set device config system, right? IP-address add tab will work here also. IP-address and the IP address. If you use question mark, it will assign the IP address. So as per our requirement, our management IP is 192.168.179.139. Then use help question mark. This many options do we have? So simply we need to go this option, the net mask. Okay, net mask 255.255.255.0. Then the default gateway 192.168.179.2, right? 179.2 space DNS setting server. You can use here. See, Maksud, your questions answered. Okay. If you want to set the primary one, you need to set as a primary. If you want secondary, again you need to configure secondary. Once you configure the secondary, then same thing you need to repeat DNS setting secondary. So our primary is 8.8.8.8. Just hit enter. That's it. Now let me commit. Enter. So job 2 is in the progress. Okay, if you want to break this, you can if you want to stop the job, it's running Control C.
Control C. Yes.
Let it be save. So once we save, again we need to run the same command, show system info in our information. So we'll get to know that whether this IP is as a this one, like the IP assignment has to be changed from DHCP to static. Note down these commands, guys. Note down this command.
Yes.
And one more thing in note. If he wants to break running config sequence, you need to perform Q. Capital or small, anything. This is in Palo Alto. In Cisco, you will simply control plus C, right? In Cisco. Noted the commands, right? Yes. Even we can configure the zones also from the CLI. So we'll go first. We'll learn how we can assign the static IP from CLI. Because we already know how we can assign the static the IP address from the GUI, so that we are getting the DHCP. Even from GUI also we can change the IP assignment. Even from the DHCP also we can change the IP assignment. So let's start. Okay, the commit was 100%. Okay, the commit was successful. Now check. So the show system information command will work here. I'm getting error. Show system, even the tab also not working. What I need to perform here? Invalid syntax.
Run.
Command is when you are in the global configuration mode or
Run.
in the configuration mode, you need to type run show system. Okay.
Info.
See now, what is the changes? What is the changes from the previous? Previously here we have the DHCP, right? Previously here we have the IP assignment mechanism is DHCP. Now we'll check what is the IP assignment mechanism after we change as a static. What IP mechanism do we have here? See here, this is our static, right?
Yes.
We are forcing the system to don't take DHCP, take from statically, which we configure. Same thing we configured the same IP from where we get the IP address, right? But in the production network, we will have a management subnet. Okay, we will have a management subnet. From there, we will take any one free IP address and we'll going to assign the PA firewall. Clear?
Yeah.
By
By default, it will provide the DHCP IP, sir. By default.
default, it will provide. See, we are doing in the lab, right? Where we are here. So we are doing in the lab. So our lab topology looks like this, right? This is our inside, outside DMZ. Here also we have the internet, which is the ISP. Here we can connect the PC, right? We know that by default, what is the default IP address of the Palo Alto Firewall in the production network?
1.1.
1.1, right? 192.168.1.1. This is the default IP address. So the default services will be enabled on the Palo Alto Firewall is HTTPS, right? And the ping and the SSH. These are all the default services. By default will be enabled on the management interface, not the other interface, only for the management interface. Right. So we used to connect our laptop, which means the admin laptop or the normal laptop, and we will assign the same IP address, same range of IP address, class C, and we'll try to access. But in our topology, what we have for a chain, so this is our ISP, right? LAN outside DMZ zone. Here we are connected the MGMT cloud, MGMT cloud. So that's the reason we are getting the IP address on the management interface from the DHCP. Understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's the reason we are getting the IP address from this cloud, the management cloud. You can see the topology also, you'll get to know. See, this is what our topology, right? So here we connected the management cloud. So from here, we are getting the IP address to this guy, in the management port. Okay. So this is clear, right? So what is interzone and the intrazone?
Yes, brother.
I'll tell you one more thing before jumping into the class. Okay, before jumping into the class, let me draw. This is also important so that your basic fundamentals will be clear. Even when you attend the interview also, it will be very helpful for you guys because they'll not ask you to configure the Palo Alto Firewall from the scratch. They'll ask you the questions only, right? This is your inside zone and the outside zone and the DMZ zone. What we discuss in DMZ zone, we normally in the production, web servers will be hosted, right? Web servers. There will be a switch, and for this switch, the web server will be connected. Now, here one of the user is there. If this user wants to ping this server, will the communication will be allow default?
Yes.
No. No.
Different.
Yes, nahi hota hai because this is the inside zone, this is the DMZ zone. So the by default, okay, the intra zone communication is allowed, but the inter zone, right? Inter zone communication will be denied. So this is our inter zone because the traffic is initiated from the inside and it is going to the DMZ. So the communication will be not allowed by default. So to allow that communication, we need to write ACL, access control list, and the routers. But here in the Palo Alto Firewall, we used to call policies, right? So we need to write the policy. When you are writing the policy, right, the inside, the incoming zone, right, or we can call the source zone. Okay, the source zone, right, and the destination zone. Source user or IP address, user or IP, right, and the destination IP, and the services, which means ports, and the action. This is the main features which we need to allow, right?
Yes.
If I call here, the source zone is inside, and the destination zone is what? DMZ, right?
DMZ.
DMZ, and the source IP is the IP of this user, or I can call in the complete subnet also. I'll call directly this user IP, and the destination IP is this server IP, right? And the services are allowed, all action allowed. So when we are configuring the policies, this is the structure of the policy, right? So I'll configure in Palo Alto Firewall. Then after I try to initiate the ping from here, just take this is 1.10, this is 2.10. Okay, so I try to ping from here, this guy from 1.10 to 2.10. Will the traffic will allow?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, traffic will be allow.
Hello.
So when we are configuring the policy, we are configuring the direction is from inside to outside only. But how we are getting the response also, the ICMP response? ये important है, कौन बोलेगा वो है मस्त खिलाड़ी, बोलो. So we are configuring the direction only from inside to outside to go the traffic from inside to outside. But how we are getting the ping response, the ICMP response from DMZ to inside also to this PC?
I am management.
It is the management, buddy. Management is
No, no.
Yes.
From ISP we will get response.
burger, pizza. The user is in inside, and the server, this server, the 2.10 is in the DMZ. Then how your ISP will come?
Okay.
Okay, how the NGFW firewalls will work? On which basis? Either it is a stateless or stateful inspection.
Yes.
Stateful.
Stateful, right? So, as the Palo Alto will work as a stateful inspection, once the request is going, while going the request, it will enter the request in this session table.
Yes.
Okay, session table. So the request is going like this from 1.10 to 2.10. When the reply is coming back, it will check the session table. It used to do the stateful inspection, right? So that's the reason it will enter the session in the session table. When the reply is coming, it will allow to flow from 2.10 to 1.10.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yes, bro. But one thing, as the direction of the policy is inside to outside, when you try to ping from DMZ, inside to DMZ, right? When you try to ping from DMZ to ping space 1.10, this communication will not allow. That is what the stateful inspection, that is what the session table will perform. That's the reason next generation firewall, we just need to give the policy, even though from inside to outside, right? From LAN to inside to outside, we are configuring the policy only from inside to outside only, not from the outside to inside. Did you observe?
Yes. Yes, brother.
But how the communication is working? So the firewall, the Palo Alto firewall, the next generation firewall will work based on the stateful inspection. If the traffic is going from inside to outside, when the other traffic, if the same traffic is coming, then it will check the session table and it will allow. If the different traffic is coming, firewall will discard or drop the traffic. This understanding you should have as a next generation firewall engineers.
Yes, brother.
If you don't have, then come to 105 room, then we'll explain you. समझ में आया मकसूद? Okay, chalo. What is our agenda? Our agenda is to configure the topology. So let me take the topology. We need to deploy in the L3 mode, right? So first, we will configure the zones. We will create 3 zones. inside, outside, and DMZ zones. Let me go to the Palo Alto Firewall. Network, zones. We don't have any zones. Click here, add. The zone is
inside
inside _ zone. The type of the zone is L3.
L3.
Okay, one zone is created. The other zone is DMZ _ zone. The type of the zone is L3.
L3.
Okay, and one more zone which we need to create, the outside zone. Outside _ zone. The type of the zone is L3. Clear, right? Anyone having doubt on the zones part?
No.
No.
So zones is clear. Now our second agenda is Maksud, mute kar bhai. The second agenda is we need to configure the interfaces. So what are all the interfaces we have? First we'll start from here, right? Ethernet 1/1, and we need to configure this IP address, and we need to call this zone also on this particular interface. So let me go to the Ethernet 1/1 network interfaces, and we have 8 interfaces. The first interface Ethernet 1/1, which is connecting to outside, right? So the comment is, I'll mention here, connected to ISP. The type of the interface, what I need to configure here? Maksud, abhi unmute kar.
L3.
L3.
And the virtual router,
Default.
Default.
what is the security zone?
Outside.
Outside.
Very good.
Outside.
What is the IP address we need to configure here?
200.
200.1.1.1 or 2. 200.1.1.1. Sorry. 200.1.1.1/24. If you don't give the slash value, it will take /32. So better always give the slash value as well. अरे तुम सब इतने तो इंटेलिजेंट्स हो, इतने तो सेंसिबल बंदे हो, अगर तुम्हारे सराउंडिंग में आवाज आ रहा है ना, कुछ साउंड आ रहा है ना, प्लीज म्यूट कर दो, ताकि तुम जब रिकॉर्डिंग देखोगे ना, तुम्हारे कोई दिक्कत होती, मेरे को दिक्कत नहीं, मतलब 100 बार 1000 बार किया हूँ ये सारे कॉन्फ़िगरेशंस, तो तुमको अच्छे से समझ जाए। जब तुमको कहीं पे साउंड सुनाई दे रहा है, म्यूट करो, जब तुमको आंसर देना है अनम्यूट करके बोलो, और बार बार मैं बोल नहीं सकता तुम लोगों को अभी, राइट? So I just committed the configuration. I just commit the configuration. So still the interface is down. Why?
Commit.
Exactly. So before giving the commit, the configuration will not take action. The configuration will be not pushed from the candidate configuration to the running configuration. As of now, the configuration is present in the candidate configuration. If I reboot this device, okay, let me go to the device and the operations. If I click here, okay, reboot device, we have the option through the CLI also. We can click here, the reboot device, the device will get reboot. If I click here, so whatever we configured, the 3 zones and the interface, the outside interface, the configuration will be vanish. Okay. Now let me configure for the Ethernet 1/2, which is our inside zone. The IP address is 192.168.1.1/24. I'm in the network and the interfaces Ethernet 1/2, which is connected to inside network, right? Inside network. The type of the interface is L3. The virtual router is default. Security zone is, what security zone we are decided here? It is our inside zone. So we need to call as an inside zone. Then the IP address is, click on the IPv4. Here see, as a static PPOE, point-to-point over Ethernet. This is very outdated, old one. Okay, either we can go with the static or DHCP. DHCP, don't go with the DHCP. If you go with the DHCP, then again you will face the problems. Always configure the IPs as a static. So 192.168.1/24. Just hit enter. That's it. Then the third interface, Ethernet 1/3. Which we are planning to configure for the DMZ interface. So here the IP is 3.1. Let me configure that as well. Connected to DMZ. The interface type is L3, and the virtual router is default. The security zone is
DMZ.
DMZ. IPv4. Go to the click on the IPv4 address and add IP address is 192.168.3.1.
3.1/20.
Just hit enter. So still the interfaces are down, right? So once we perform the commit, the interfaces will come up. So while we are committing, right? So here we have the option preview changes, change summary, and validate commit. So even we can check here the preview changes also. What changes we done? If you click on the preview changes, it will ask you the line of context. How many lines you need to see? I'll click on 20 lines. Just click OK. See. Isubhaya, mute. See here. So earlier the configuration when you see the green color, which means the configuration was added. When you see the I don't know the color, buddy. Okay, yellow modify, orange, red means delete. See here. Earlier we don't have any configuration on this particular interface. We modified here Ethernet 1/1 as a layer 3, and we configured the IP address, right? We mentioned the comment also connected to ISP. So it is what showing. We modified this interface. We modified almost all three interface. One is for the Ethernet 1/2, Ethernet 1/1, and Ethernet 1/3. And what are all we modified? Okay, interfaces was added to the your virtual router. See here, the virtual. Once you configure the interfaces as a L3, those interfaces will by default, okay, will add it to once you call the interfaces as the route is default, okay, the default virtual router, then it will add to the virtual router. See, when we configured the first time, right, the primary DNS 8.8, all the settings are there present here. So we created the zones, inside underscore zone, and the DMZ zone, and the outside zone that will also be present in the network. This is what your preview, the preview changes. Okay, preview changes. What changes we are going to do that we can check from here. Let me commit the configuration. It will take some time. So meanwhile, we'll discuss what are all the things we configured, like what configuration we done. We done with the zoning configuration. We done with the interfaces configuration. Then next.
Right.
We'll configure the virtual router.
Virtual router.
With the sequence, buddy. Virtual router, which is nothing but in the Cisco routing table, right? Routing table.
Security policy.
Okay, the routing table. Even though you configure the virtual router, the default route in the virtual router, the Palo Alto will not send the packet, right? Palo Alto will not send the packet over the internet. Why? Any reason? Even though you configured here the zones, interface, and the virtual router, in router, how this is, just consider this is our router, right? Once we configure this interface, right, and this interface, and we done with the interface configuration, then we done with the default route, right? IP route 0.0.0 and /0. Go with the next hop IP address, the next hop IP of the here, right? Whatever the IP we have here, we will call 0.0.0.0/0 and the next hop IP address. So once we call the next hop IP address, we are good, right? We can ping from here to 8.8.8. We can get the internet also. But in Palo Alto, how? So in Palo Alto, you will not, even you configure the virtual route also, you will not get the internet, because if this user, even we need to consider the security policy. After you configure the security policy also, the internet will not get. Okay, security policies after you configure the security policies, because this user, for example, 1.10, the source IP is 1.10 and the destination is 8.8.8.8. Packet will be look like this. So it will go to your switch. Switch will forward to this guy. Switch will forward to Palo Alto. So once the Palo Alto get that, as we don't have the NAT, the Palo Alto will also send the same packet. The translation will not happen here in the Palo Alto firewall because we don't have the NAT. The same packet will go, which means the source is 1.10 and the destination is 8.8.8.8. This packet, once the ISP guy see this packet, that he'll check the packet. He'll open the packet and he'll see source is 1.10, which is our private IP address. Why the private IP address was designed? What is the main role of private IP address and the public IP address?
The private IP address is assigned by the network engineer.
Okay, the private IP addresses are assigned by the network engineer. The private IP addresses will work within the LAN only, not the outside network,
Outside.
not the WAN side or the internet.
It is
Okay,
not
so
routable.
it is not routable. So that's the reason this ISP guy will discard this packet. So that's the reason we need to perform NAT also here, network address translation. So let me see, did the commit was done? Yes. So the status is completed and the result is successful. Details configuration commit is successful. If you have any issues, so here it will throw the error. If you do any wrong, right, it will throw the error. Let me configure the virtual router. So once again, the same network and the virtual router. When we configuring the interfaces, this interfaces, right? This interface, this interface, this interface, which default route we called as a virtual router? Virtual router we called as a default, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Default. So the same default virtual route you can see here. This is the default route. So which means here there are interfaces Ethernet 1/3 under Ethernet 1/1, 1/2, 1/3. You call the virtual router as a default. Got it?
Yes.
Now we need to go to the static route. Click add. Now here we need to configure the default route for to reach internet. I can call here the internet route or default route, which is better for you guys. Default route is better, right?
Yes.
Default
Yes.
underscore route. And the destination. What is the destination for the default route? You know the IP
Yes.
addresses. What are all the IP addresses are there in the internet?
8.8.
8.8.8.
8.8.
कौन से रूम पे बैठा है मकसूद? उधर आके मारा करना, वहां से विंडो में से नीचे बाहर चले जाता.
नहीं मैं 200 आया था.
डिफॉल्ट. अरे खरगोश सुन अच्छे से. द डेस्टिनेशन आईपी मतलब इंटरनेट पे जाने के लिए तुझे पता है क्या इंटरनेट पे क्या क्या सर्वर्स है, उनके आईपी एड्रेसेस क्या है बोल के? व्हाई वी यूज द डिफॉल्ट राउट? डोंट टेक पर्सनली, ठीक है, लेकिन तू ही आंसर गलत दिया तो बाकी लोग भी गलत देते ना. व्हाई वी यूज डिफॉल्ट राउट?
To access the internet.
टू एक्सेस द
Internet.
इंटरनेट. ओके. सो उसका मेन मतलब क्या है? डिफॉल्ट राउट कई की यूज करते बोल के अगर कोई पूछा तो टू एक्सेस ओके द इंटरनेट एज वेल एज टू रीच अननोन डेस्टिनेशन. अननोन
Destination.
डेस्टिनेशन. कितने बार डाला है डिफॉल्ट राउट तू?
हाँ सारे बार 0 आता है पूरे 0.0.
IP route 0.0.0.0/0 subnet is 0 and the next hop IP address.
Yes.
यहाँ पे next hop IP address डालना है. The same thing we are calling here. तो हमको पता नहीं इंटरनेट पे क्या क्या सर्वर्स है, कहाँ कहाँ जाना है यूजर को, हमको क्या पता? यूजर कभी फेसबुक पे जाएगा, कभी जीमेल पे जाएगा, कभी और जाएगा. So don't configure 8.8.8. Here we need to configure 0.0.0.0. Right? Anything. /0 था क्या?
+0.
0.
Right? No, the next hop IP. Okay. Interface कौन सा है? So which interface, from which interface the packet will be travel? Topology में, as per our topology, what is our outside interface? Default route always हम क्या करते हैं? Outside interface के ऊपर ही डालते हैं ना?
Yes man.
बोलो कौन सा है इंटरफेस? अरे 1 by 1 बोलो.
1/1.
Ethernet 1/1 is the interface, which from that interface the traffic will go out. ये इंटरफेस.
इतना.
Yes.
देखो यहाँ पे क्या पूछ रहा है? इंटरफेस क्या है? Ethernet 1/1. Then it will ask you the next hop IP address. What is the next hop IP address here? As per our topology, this is our self IP address. The next hop IP address is this 200.1.1.1.
1.
So here 200.1.1.1. Remaining is same. Nothing we need to do here. Just enter. Okay. हो गया configuration. Default route भी हो गया. Then
security policies. Security policies.
Security policy. Okay. So what is our agenda? Our agenda is the LAN user has to go internet, right? So we need to write the policy from inside to outside. Name सही से देना है तभी तुमको समझ में आएगा. Go to the policies, the security policy. So we have the default policies, intrazone and interzone policy. Click here, add. Okay. You can give any name. So I'm giving inside.
Inside to outside.
Inside to outside. The source zone is inside. Any IP address. The destination zone is outside. For any destination address, any device. The application is any, and the services are any action, allow, right? Log the session when it is start and log at session end. Enter. So we are done with the policy also. Now we need to do the NAT as well, network address translation. For this subnet 1.0, whenever the 1.0 traffic will come to the Palo Alto Firewall, okay, please perform the NAT, network address translation, which is nothing but that port address translation, okay, with this IP address, right?
Right. Yes.
Let me perform the NAT as well. Go to the policies and the NAT policy.
NAT.
Click on add. NAT for LAN users. Now the original packet. From where the original packet will be initiated? From which zone?
Inside.
Inside. The original packet will come from inside. Okay. The destination zone will be
Outside.
exactly. And the destination interface?
1/1, I think.
Ethernet 1/1. Very good.
1.
Okay. Ethernet 1/1. Service any. Now the actual picture will start. Okay. The translation address. What type of translation you required?
Dynamic IP and port.
Dynamic IP and port, dynamic IP and the static IP. Static is used only for one-to-one mapping, which means if we have the web server here, right? So we have this is our web server. This is our web server. If anyone sitting over the internet, if he wants to access this web server, so I hosted here https:// okay, network.ninja.com, right? This is my website. So if this guy wants to access that, so the request, the source IP, his private IP address, his IP address, and the destination is whatever the IP we have here, that IP, which means we need to map here the static IP. I'll tell you when we are discussing the static NATing. Okay. So the request will come to ISP from router to firewall. From here, the actual IP will happen, right? The private IP, from public IP to private IP. Because this guy don't know our private IP address, right? Let me go here. So we'll dynamic IP and port, and the address type is translate address or the interface address. Translate address, when you call the translate address, which means translated address we will use only when we are doing the static NATing. So we are not doing any static NAT. So we need to do the dynamic NAT, which is nothing but PAT, port address translation. So that's why we are calling interface address. And the interface is Ethernet 1/1. The IP will be 200.1.1.1, which means whenever, right? Let me erase this. So whenever requests come from LAN user to go internet or 8.8.8.8, which is on internet, so the packet will receive here this Palo Alto Firewall. When the source will be here, source will be 1.10 and the destination IP is 8.8.8.8. This packet will come to firewall. When the firewall is the firewall outside interface leaving that packet, right? The firewall will perform the NAT. Then the source will be changed. the source IP address will become 200.1.1.2 and the destination is 8.8.8.8. So this packet will go to the ISP router. So when the ISP router will open the packet, the source IP is public IP address. So this will forward to this guy 8.8.8. Again 8.8.8 will give the replay. The reverse translation will happen automatically. We need not to perform anything. Okay. So if you do the NAT, the address, the translation will be changed here. The source address will be changed here. So we perform almost all good. Just click OK. Then commit the configuration. So till here, anyone having doubt, just let me know. We perform all the steps: zones, interfaces, virtual router, security policy, and the NAT. So now, we are able to reach internet from this user or not?
No.
No.
उसमें ये करना ना,
क्या करना?
DNS करना।
DNS है।
IP कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं करा अभी तक. ओके.
हाँ वो भी करना।
उसके बाद चेक करेंगे, ठीक है. सो मीनवाइल ये कमिट हुए तक है ना, हम IP कॉन्फ़िगर कर लेंगे एक बार इसमें. सो DHCP करें. आज तो टाइम हो जा रहा है, 1:10 हो रहा है. ओके. स्टैटिक IP कर देता हूँ फिलहाल के लिए. कल हम क्लास में DHCP परफॉर्म करेंगे सेम लैब में, राइट. कैपिटल T EST 1 2 3 एंटर. फिर से सेम लैब कर रहा हूँ, L3 लैब विद इन डिटेल, ताकि तुम लोग समझो बोल के. अगर समझे नहीं, बोलोगे गाय हमारी माता है, हमको कुछ नहीं आता है, तो कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता. Mutahar, once again, what is a command to check the IP details?
Show IP config.
रे सोया था है क्या तू? Hey Asif, what is a command to check IP details in Windows laptop? Huh?
IP configuration.
IP configuration. Okay. Sahil, what is a command to check the IP details in the Windows machine? पेपरा मत फलटा. अब इतना भी नहीं बोल सके तो तू नेटवर्क इंजीनियर बोल के बोलना मत कभी.
Just write IP config/all.
कौन बोल रहे थे भाई? आंसर
Just key there.
जसकृत. ओके, गुड. सो मुतहर, साहिल, आसिफ, तुम तीनों है ना, तुम मिलो भाई मेरे को. मैं बात करना है तुमसे. तुमको प्यार से समझाए, अच्छे से समझाए. तुमको दिमाग ही नहीं है. मेरे को पूछे तो तुमको दिमाग नहीं है. अरे मुतहर, शो IP कॉन्फ़िग क्या? शो IP कॉन्फ़िग कहाँ चलता बोल? मैं इतने 10 साल के एक्सपीरियंस में मैं कहीं देखा नहीं. शो IP कॉन्फ़िग कमांड कहीं पे चलता है क्या?
इसमें
रूटर में चलता है. दिखाता मुझे तो.
CLC configuration.
रुक मैं राउटर लॉगिन करता हूँ. मुझे डाउट है थोड़ा. दिखा, क्लैरिटी कर थोड़ा. ओके. अब बोल क्या कमांड चलाऊं? शो IP कॉन्फ़िग.
Show IP. रूट दिखा.
मैं तुझे क्या पूछा हूँ? तू क्वेश्चन सुनता नहीं क्या? शो IP कॉन्फ़िग कमांड दिखाता है?
नहीं.
क्या पड़ता है कि तू ही देख ले एक बार. मैं 1000 बार नहीं बोल सकता. एक ही बार बोलते हैं कोई भी. अक्लमंद को इशारा काफी है. तुझे इशारे नहीं, जवाब भी दिया मैं. कल का वीडियो देखा तू क्लास का?
नहीं भैया.
क्यों, क्या काम था?
वेरिएबल्स.
हाँ, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? खाना खाया कल 3 टाइम? 3 टाइम खाया नहीं? तू भी रे साहिल, 3 टाइम खाना खाया? आसिफ 6 टाइम खाए होंगे, लेकिन वीडियो रेफर करने का नहीं है. तुमको लगता है भाई जॉब ऐसी आ जाती बोल के. मार्केट में मगर लोग बैठे हुए हैं. क्रोकोडाइल बोलते ना, मगर चबा के खा जाएंगे तुमको. कुछ भी करो. IP config. If you perform the command IP config, तुमको सिर्फ IP सबनेट गेटवे दिखाएगा. अगर तुम IP config /all दोगे तो तुमको इंक्लूडिंग DNS भी दिखाएगा. सारे इंटरफेसेस दिखाएगा. मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता भाई. अल्लाह बचाए तुमको. Did we miss anything?
Yes.
What we miss?
You have to assign the IPs in the window 10.
We already have the IP addresses. See here. IP config.
Again, DN, one more thing is
1.10. Okay. 255.255.255. You want to see DNS? IP config / all. Even the DNS also enable 8.8.8.8.
yes, yes. Profile where?
Profile only for the management, the gateway. To reach the gateway, profile we required. I tell you one thing, लैब में ऐसा ही होता है, ठीक है? Disable. Right click, enable. See now. It will come. It will on the network 3, right? I'll check in the sessions also in the Palo Alto. Okay. Is a command to check the sessions.
Show session all.
Which mode I am?
You are now in. Sorry, run. Blur है थोड़ा. Now run show session.
The traffic is flowing. See here. Traffic is flowing. Traffic is flowing. Server to client to server and client server to client. Let's see now. I'm able to reach from Palo Alto Firewall. That's it. In source 192.168.1.1 and the host is 8.8.8.8. What happened? I'm unable to reach from Palo Alto Firewall itself. So, did I able to reach from here? So IP int brief. Ping 8.8.8.8. So from here the connectivity is there. From router connectivity is good, but from the firewall I'm unable to reach. What is the issue? Okay, let me check. But okay. Configuration is in place. Commit also succeed. The NAT policy for the LAN user. The original packet come from inside Ethernet 1/1. Okay. The translation address is dynamic IP and port, and NAT is good. Let me check the security policy. So even we are having the hit count also here from inside to outside. Okay. So here also working fine. Then let me check the virtual router once. I think something we miss here. The default route. See what we miss here. Okay, that's good only, right? Next hop IP address 200.1. Next hop IP address 200.1 only, right? 1.1.2 and the 200.1.1.1.
So पहले स्लैश जैसे स्लैश जीरो
कहाँ पे?
जीरो अब स्लैश निकाल डाली
इसके पहले यहाँ पे स्लैश 0 देना है. Slash 0. Okay, this is also good. Network and the interfaces 200.1.1.1/24. Okay, fine. You have the DNS also in place, right? Let me check. DNS services. We have data date verified. Okay, it has to ping. Indicating duplicate IP. Receive conflict R. Okay. And the interface Ethernet 1/1. Network. .1.1.1. See here.
One.
I configured the
Two.
wrong IP address here.
2.
मैं भी सो रहा हूँ, तुम भी सो रहे हो.
Commit.
So once the commit was done, right, so it will start working. Okay, NAT rule for the LAN user source dynamic IP and port. Not a valid reference. Source translation. Okay, again I need to change the NAT because earlier it was taken 200.1.1.1, right? So as per our topology, it has to take 200.1.1.2. So the error, because it was not configured. क्या हो रहा है पता है, जब हम यहाँ पे NAT करा हो ना मैं, तो NAT पे एक इशू आया है. पहले 200.1.1.1 ले लिए थे, अब हम IP चेंज करें तो NAT में अभी भी वही IP रिफ्लेक्ट करता होगा.
हाँ जी.
Okay. Source packet inside to outside DMZ translation address 1.1.2 आना है यहाँ पे. Okay. Let me commit once again. Come on. Okay, let me commit. क्या का मकसद देखता नहीं, तो मुझे गलत कॉन्फ़िगर कर रहा था इंटरफेसेस.
हाँ जी.
डायरेक्ट फाइल में टाइम लगा नहीं कमिट.
Now commit was successful. Okay, commit success हो गया है. See here. Now once the commit was success, then the communication was start working. So user can able to Okay, so user can able to ping the .8.8. Even he can able to open any websites. We haven't tested till now the website. We'll do that part as well. First we need to check के यूजर सही से इंटरनेट पे चले जाए, देन उसके बाद हम सारा रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगाएंगे. ओके, क्या करूं? gmail.com. Check the sessions in the firewall also. Here, once the NAT was done, right? So run session all. Show session all. See, this many sessions was built. पूरी ट्रैफिक कौन सी है?
गूगल,
जीमेल, गूगल बेस, जीमेल सब दिखा रहा है. देखो कनेक्शन वाज एक्टिव. तो एक सेशन लेंगे. ओके, सो सेशन आईडी 675. once we hit enter, see the request was from 1.10. हमारा यूजर आईपी 1.10 ही था, which is inside zone में है. डेस्टिनेशन आईपी ये था. प्रोटोकॉल is 6 based on the TCP traffic, right? और डेस्टिनेशन पोर्ट 443. सोर्स पोर्ट इज एनी रैंडम बोल के ऑलवेज बोलता था मैं. देखो 65,535 पोर्ट्स में से कोई भी पोर्ट उठा लेगा. स्टेट मतलब कनेक्शन अभी भी एक्टिव है. दिस इज द रिटर्न ट्रैफिक. व्हेन इट इज कमिंग रिटर्न फ्रॉम 142.250.70.33, मतलब आउटसाइड से किसको आ रहा है? 200.1.1.2, राइट? 200.1.1.2 which is this guy. 200.1.1.2 is this guy, the outside interface. Because the NAT was happening, the packet is translating from private IP to public IP, then again public to private. Clear? Here you can see from कौन से इंटरफेस से आया है, कौन से इंटरफेस से गया है, सब कुछ देख सकते हो तुम. अगर तुमको दिमाग है, लॉक पढ़ सकते हो तो बढ़िया है. See here, this is the timing. Okay, time out, time live कितना हो रहा है वो सब दिखा रहा है. Bytes of data. Then see here where it is. ये पॉलिसी को हिट कर रहा है. रूल कौन सा है? इनसाइड टू आउटसाइड रूल को हिट करके जा रहा है बाहर. और नेट पॉलिसी कौन सा है? नेट का रूल जो हम कॉन्फ़िगर करे थे, नेट फॉर लैन यूजर रूल हिट हो रहा है. सो द इनकमिंग इंटरफेस इज इथरनेट 1/2. इग्रेस इंटरफेस मतलब बाहर किस इंटरफेस से जा रहा है? इथरनेट 1/1 से जा रहा है, राइट? तो इस तरह तुम लॉग्स पढ़ना का थोड़ा बहुत आदत डाल लो और पढ़ो लॉग्स. तो इसको मिनिमाइज करता हूँ. सो इवन इसको भी मिनिमाइज करता हूँ. अगर तुम अभी एक छोटा कॉन्सेप्ट है बोल देता हूँ, देन विल कैन वाइंड अप. अच्छा टाइम तो हो गया है, ठीक है. चलो डिवाइस, इफ आई गो हियर, राइट, यहाँ पे नहीं, मैनेजमेंट पे जाओ. टाइम क्या दिखा रहा है यहाँ पे? यूएस स्पेसिफिक टाइम जोन. यूएस स्पेसिफिक है. हमारा टाइम जोन कौन सा है? एशिया कोलकाता.
एशिया कलकत्ता.
क्या दिखा? नवंबर 18 5:24 दिखा रहा है, बट द टाइम इज 1:24. चेंज द ऑप्शन. यहाँ पे जाओ, एशिया/कोलकाता आ गया. सिलेक्ट करो, जस्ट क्लिक ओके. Go to the services. Here we have the NTP option. So अगर तुम you can configure the normal manual time also, but the better solution is always configure the NTP. So I'll configure the NTP 0.in बोले तो india.pool.org. ये है क्या? ये रुको यहाँ पे चेक कर लेते हैं. Public NTP server. Yeah. ये देखो pool.ntp.org. pool.ntp.org, right? क्या है? 0.in देयर आर 4 सर्वर्स. इसका मतलब क्या है भाई, एनटीपी पे है ना 4 सर्वर्स है. ओके, 4 सर्वर्स में से तुम किसी को भी पॉइंट कर सकते हो. दिस आर द पब्लिक सर्वर्स. ओके, 0.in.pool.ntp.org 1.2.3. Right, I'll copy this one, the first one, paste. Okay, commit the configuration. Now you will see the whatever the time we are seeing here 126, right, the same timing you will see in the Palo Alto Firewall as well. So the NTP is very important. अगर तुम गलत time configure करोगे, then the logs will not be fetched properly.
Okay.
नहीं यहाँ पे नीचे रहता है. नहीं है. बैक में बैक ये वाला ऑफिस बैग. Okay, the policy was completed, committed. Then again go to the management. You can see here the time was changed now. It will change. So what time it is? November 17. Again PST. Let me refresh this. It has to come IST, right? November 17, 23. Why it is PST? Yes, here, Kolkata. Okay, English. Done. Let me refresh. It should not come like this. 0.in.pool.ntp.org. It should get from the IST, not from the PST. PST is a Pakistan time. in.pool.ntp.org. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. Services.
One बदला हुआ है, one.
We'll configure the secondary as well. Let me modify the service routes as well. Custom for the DNS. Go with the Ethernet 1/1. ये है सर्विस राउट. ऐसा मॉडिफाई करते हैं भाई प्रोडक्शन पे सर्विस राउट्स को. Even for the NTP also I'll modify. We'll see whether we'll get the exact time or not. Take the update from the internet, not from the management port. Okay, change किया हूँ. We'll commit this. Very good. Very good. Even in production also we'll take the same timing, bro. Buddies, for commit the configuration. Same timing we'll take in production also. Okay, policy was succeed. So our primary server is 1.in.pool. Okay, let me go to the monitor tab here, the management. We'll see. See now that I'm seeing properly, because I forgot that to change the NTP, the service route. Okay, so it will work for the 0 also. See, the timing is same, right? 131. Here also 131. In our clock also, the time was IST. So this is how we will configure the NTP clock. When you are configuring the NTP clock, change the service route as well. This is the importance of the service route. Okay, so we'll wind up this session. So as I have the shift, okay, we'll wind up the session, and tomorrow, before joining this class, please have a video recording. Prepare your notebook. Again, I'll ask the same question. For a change, okay, tomorrow if you don't answer me, anyone, if you don't answer, tomorrow I'll disconnect from you guys from the meeting. That's it. Nothing is charity, nothing is free. Especially education is not free. If you don't study properly, then you can drop. Okay?
Okay.
Chalo guys.